Welcome to episode 30 of VisibleMagic Podcast. This is my co-host Vik. I'm Schlomo. Hi, Vik. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
We just had a great conversation with the founder of GrantOrb. Deepa Chaudhary has been in the impact social DAO space. That's where I met her a couple of years ago. And now she's taken that because she is in the real world, in IRL land, a longtime nonprofit grant recipient. She's written a lot of grants. So this is what she's done for a lot of companies. And she built herself an LLM to help people get their grant writing process done, even though you've never done one. It's a big deal. And I thought it was a really beautiful thing. Vik, what is your thoughts about our conversation with her?
Oh, it was really interesting. And I think that I really have a tool right now to apply for a bunch of grants.
Oh,
So if you're looking at this episode, guys, please go subscribe and check for this granting application.
I'd
It's
love,
beautiful.
I'd love when you say go subscribe. We need that. I'm wearing the Show Me the Money hat that I got from Startup Grind in Silicon Valley. Easily the most ridiculous, unfun conference I went to this year, and I've gone to about 10 or 12 of them. But this is the dumbest hat. I thought that was good for GrantOrb, right? The Show Me the Money hat.
It's
Uh,
beautiful.
Yes. So here's our conversation with Deepa of GrantOrb. And make sure you click and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Holy cow. We have Deepa Chaudhary. She made GrantOrb. Met her a couple years ago when the world was a little different. We were both social good folks in the Web3 space. DAOs ish. Like we were both into DAOs, but we were more into social good, I think, right?
Social good DAOs, yeah. We call them the impact DAOs.
Right. Do we still use that term, impact DAOs?
Yeah, we do use that, but it's kind of getting all morphed, like it's all just DAOs. But yeah, impact DAOs are the ones that are focused on doing good. So they have the doing good mandate built into their mission. And they operate a bit differently from the rest of the DAOs.
Exactly. That's when we met. We were both in that world. We're both still in that world. It's just we also do other things now, right? And
Exactly.
and now now you've transitioned to creating, founding GrantOrb, which the reason why I wanted you here is because I always talk about how I think Gen AI is great and all, but concepts are a little too aspirational. Where GrantOrb is actually actionable, and
That's right.
that is awesome. Let's talk
Yeah,
about.
we wanted to make generative AI solve real world problems, and one of the problem is grant writing. This is something that I experienced in Web3. Web3 is powered by grants. Gitcoin is a crowdfunding campaign, and then there are so many DAOs that make grants to different projects. And what I realized being in Web3 is that people are not able to effectively communicate their ideas, and they are not able to, they have great ideas, but they're not able to present it well. And this is something that I just figured in Web3, like, wow, this is a problem. Grant writing is a problem. And I've done grant writing as part of my job at a couple of nonprofits that I've worked with. I've been a nonprofit fundraiser, I've written grants, and I've raised funding. And I'm like, wow, there is this problem, real problem, and we can use generative AI for this. And also, I know grant writing is highly tedious and time consuming task. Like it can take 50 hours. When I first applied to Gitcoin, and Gitcoin is a crowdfunding campaign, like a platform. So you don't have to write much, but still to write like a really compelling note, I took an entire weekend to do that, like really hone it and make it compelling. Like, why am I doing this project? And it took me an entire weekend to just put a page together. So you can imagine when you have to write multiple page documents, like, and they can run into 10 to 15 pages, 20 pages at times. People spend weeks and months doing that, in nonprofits. So I'm like, how do we bring generative AI to this? And that was the starting point. I was enamored by Mid-Journey and Stable Diffusion. Like you could just describe the image you want, and it created the image with all the details, and like it's so real. And I'm like, wow, if we can do this with images, then definitely we can do this with grants. So that was the idea, make it super magical. All you got to do is describe the project that you are seeking funding for, and the AI writes a compelling proposal for you. You don't have to be a grant writer. You don't have to have any experience. You can be soon, a fresher out of college, and a part of a DAO or a part of a team who's trying to
Right.
do good, and they need to get grants written because they need to raise funds for their mission, and
Absolutely.
that person can do it. you
Let's pop
know
it up while we're talking here. Because now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of this. Let's talk about a couple things. One, tell me about how people are finding you guys, like how, and the effective rate of the grants coming through.
So I had a really great launch pad. Obviously, I didn't go down the typical Silicon Valley route, like, oh, be in conferences and stuff like that. I've been like really focused and going where the audience is, like people who would really appreciate what we built. So we launched in Jan 2024 formally through TechSoup.
TechSoup.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard of TechSoup, TechSoup is this large nonprofit organization based in United States, and they've been promoting technology to nonprofits. They've been helping nonprofits embrace technology since the cloud days.
Oh yeah, like that's right when you said it. I haven't thought about it in so long. About 20-ish years ago, I used to do TechSoup enablement with online video when it was super new, and getting folks, pretty much the same users as you're looking for, to use online video in a more streamlined, open way for their communications, like nonprofits and such. Basically, that was when we were all talking about democratizing content, right? Like allowing everyone to use it. That was that era when you had to teach people that that is a thing you could do.
Yeah.
That
And
was my
I've done that with Salesforce Foundation. So I've worked with Salesforce Foundation as
oh,
well.
nice.
And my job was to literally give out Salesforce technology for free to nonprofits, and it's expensive, right? Salesforce charges by the seat, and we were literally giving it out free, 10 licenses free to nonprofits. And I saw the struggle. Like, I saw how nonprofits struggled with embracing technology, and some of them, even after getting free, didn't use it. And so I had all of that in mind when we built GrantOrb. I wanted to be super intuitive, really keep it stupid simple in the sense that anybody can use it, and you don't have to think much when using GrantOrb. Like, just get to the work, and it does the work for you without you having a steep learning curve. So that's been the design philosophy
Well, let's
behind
see this stupid
GrantOrb.
simple thing, to quote you. Let's
Yeah,
like click a create grant or something. Like
yeah,
show us what you want
create
the people
create
to
a
see.
grant, and so there's a wizard out here, and this is where you basically describe what is it that you're seeking funding for. So I just say, start a soup kitchen in Vancouver, and I can go more details about 1,000 characters if I want to, like, start a soup kitchen in Vancouver to help serve hot lunch to the homeless population of the city,
Hmm.
something like
Hmm.
that.
Sure.
And we do this and we say create outline. And you can attach files. So if you've already jotted down your idea somewhere, you can just attach that file. If you've worked out the budget for this, you can attach files to ground it in the knowledge that you've already worked out around this project. But otherwise, it's okay even if you haven't. The AI is super intelligent, and it can take this to create an entire compelling proposal for you.
Can we talk about your AI?
Yeah, what do you want to know about the AI? So it's an AI system. It's an AI system that's been designed to AI power all the critical processes related to grants. So when you are seeking funding from a foundation or anybody, any philanthropic organization who's giving you money, there are certain processes that you need to follow. For instance, they will issue like guidelines, that we will give you grant as long as you meet our criteria. So our AI can evaluate the criteria and tell you how strong your proposal is for the funding that you're applying. So that's number one. And this is also the number one reason why proposals get rejected, because everybody gets excited seeing the money, and they're like, oh, there's money available, and let's apply for this, right? And they don't read the criteria well. They don't read the giving guidelines really well. And so they get rejected, even if the proposal is great, the team is great, the idea is great. So we want to ensure that they are writing winning grants, and so that's number one. So they can go down here and attach a file, if it's a PDF file, or just copy paste the eligibility criteria, and the AI will do an assessment on this proposal outline to show you how aligned you are or not to the giving mandate of the
That's
organization.
pretty
So that's number
cool.
one. And then it creates an entire proposal for you. So as I said, like in Web3, I figured that a lot of people don't know how to communicate their ideas, and when you're writing a grant proposal, it needs to be compelling. You should be able to tell the donor, why do you need the money? What will you do with this money? How will you spend this money? Who are the people behind this project, right? These are
Mhm.
all the concerns that the donor has, because they're giving out like tens and thousands of dollars to your project, and they want to know, like, the team, the idea, the plan of action, timelines and milestones. They want to know everything, right? How will you spend, like, the line item budget, uh, you know every expense, line item expense related to this project. They want to know all of that, and what are the risks and challenges, because they're putting all that money behind. And so if somebody writes a proposal and doesn't address any of these, and just says, hey, we need money because this is a problem and this is a solution, and doesn't talk about anything else, they are bound to not get the money, right? So this is a AI designed to write winning grants, winning proposals, and you can just do it from a short description. So as you see, like, the wizard only said, start a soup kitchen in Vancouver to help serve hot lunch to the homeless population of the city. It's briefly auto created the whole template for you, and this is a
Mhm.
chance for anybody who's now going to submit this proposal to fine tune it to meet their project requirements. So they can, if they want to change their goal to meet X number of people, they can do that. They can make budget changes, the key personnel. Uh, you
Really,
know,
the question I wanted to ask, because Vic, Mr. Developer, is like, I mean, in the engine, what are you using for your AI to build your models on, that sort of thing? Vic, he looks like,
Yeah, I'm just waiting for, like, silent spot to stick my 2 cents here.
Vic, there's always room for you. Don't wait for the silence, because if you wait for the
Okay.
silence, you're going to hear them drilling my house. Did you hear that? Like, and
No,
oh,
it's fine.
good, good.
Okay, so technically, what kind of the backend you use for this? Like, is it your own LLM run here, or use some
We've
existing?
we've tuned and optimized an LLM, and we're using a framework, which is a highly popular framework to build with large language models. It's called the AX framework, and that powers tons of processes that you see. So
Mm-hmm.
as I said, we've AI powered a lot of things. So we've AI powered, like, AI can do an eligibility check, AI can write a proposal for you, AI can create grant forms.
Mm-hmm.
It can create grant forms that looks like exact application, the real application form, right? And so you want to get the same feel, like you're filling out the same application. So it can read and create a template in 2 or 3 minutes that looks like the exact application, and then you can use the wizard to fill it out and write the whole application in 5 minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
it's AI enabled, tons of processes. It can write grant reports, letter of inquiry, because the top US foundations, like, when they give out funds, the process is to submit a letter of inquiry first, and only if that is accepted, then they send out the whole application package to you. So it
Mm-hmm.
can do letter of inquiry, request for proposals. So some foundations only give out money after, they make an announcement, we are seeking projects uh, for this nature to give out grant funding, and so they call it the request for proposals. Can write that. So basically, it can do everything in that a typical grant writer does.
Well,
Basically, writing,
the thing is,
reading.
grant writers get paid an incredible lot of money, right? And this,
That's
how are you getting some money on off the grants? Like, are you getting a drip on successful grants?
Oh, so the grant writer. So the problem with the space is that a lot of people can't afford grant writers, right?
Hmm.
And you get started with the mission in mind, and that you want to address this cause, and then you don't have the funding, so you need to start writing for grants, and you're not a grant writer, you've never written grants before, so that's why you don't know how to write a winning grant. And so all of these problems come once you start on this path of really solving real world problems. And a big ones can afford grant writers, and they're super expensive. You have to pay them hourly.
Especially
You
in
have
the
to.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
Those nonprofit. There's a very good friend of mine. She has in Oakland, California, in the Bay Area, a fairly successful grant writing for nonprofit business. There's like 4 of her in her team, and like is this going to put her out? What is the difference between having that
So
human
now she
in the
could use
world?
this. She could use this to get her
Yeah,
grants done faster. I mean, that is a really time-consuming task,
yeah.
and you have to sit and compute what the impact of this program is going to be. You have to sit and write what the deliverables are going to be. Like, I've done this as part of my job at a nonprofit. I've not been a consultant, but I've been a nonprofit fundraiser, and I know how much time it takes. I work for a nonprofit in Singapore. I wrote 5 grants. I was with them only for a year. I wrote 5 grants. I won 4 grants, including one from the government of Singapore. And I know the process. And I wish I had a tool like this. I could have aced my grants game. I could have
Totally.
gone from 5 to like 1,000 grants, right? Like, you can churn
So
out
let me be
grants.
clear. You're not charging.
We are charging, but
You
we
are
are
charging.
we
Okay.
are charging. So we
Okay.
are bootstrapped,
Yeah.
and we want to make this sustainable for us. But we've been very we want to be inclusive, because we know the space that we're serving, and so it's highly affordable. It's $44 a grant, basically. You can get, you can do an eligibility check, write the entire grant, make multiple updates with AI. So once you've generated a proposal and you see, oh, I need to come back and make some changes, you can do that with AI. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes to do that. You can come back and do that 10 times if you want. But you don't need
Well, you
to,
know what
maybe
makes
after.
it worth sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but what makes it
Yeah.
worth the money to me, and Vic would appreciate this, is the UX makes it easy for a lot of people who don't know how to use an LLM in any real fashion to get things parsed in a great way. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, no,
really
that prompting is very tough. It is very tough. Initially, like when I started with ChatGPT, that was, when they came out in November 2022, right? It's so recent.
I know.
Like, I almost gave up after like a month, because it wasn't really doing what I was expecting it to do. And so
Yeah.
prompting is really hard. And so if you want to use like a go and chatbots are just an application to the large language models, right? So the large language models are raw. It's like they've just given it's raw information, raw intelligence, and it has so much intelligence inside them that in order for them to do something, you need to be able to prompt them really well. And prompt engineering is real. It is like a science. There are research papers coming out every day, how to retrieve the information from these large language models in a way that serves your purpose. So there's a lot of prompt engineering that has gone in. So if an average person has to use a chatbot to write, they won't be able to get the same output. It'll marginally reduce their time. Like if they took 50 hours, they'll probably, get it down by a couple hours. But still, they won't know what it takes to write a winning grant, right? And you have to work it out section by section. So
And
it's
then if I have problems, do you guys have like some sort of Q&A, FAQ,
oh yeah,
chatbot
totally.
servicing the
Yeah, so
user?
if you see, like, I put my email right up front, like, so you can go to help, and we have a
Mhm,
guide. I've
mhm.
also just recently created a video using an AI video service, and I'm going to be pumping out tons of videos, like tons of videos of like small things that they can do with GrantOrb, just to highlight all the features. Like, you can come
This is
back and
Vic's
update with
jam.
AI. My
You're
email is
speaking
right
to
here.
Vic's jam right here. He is building these things right now internally. We talk about it all the time. We use these tools, parsing our video internally. We should all talk offline together because we believe in this service so deeply.
Oh yeah, and I've been like, I created my AI avatar, so I don't have to be in front of the camera. I just had to be in front of the camera once, and then I've just trained an AI avatar on me and my tone, and I'm using that to create tons of videos, basically about like small, there's so many
Mhm.
great features that I want to highlight about GrantOrb. Obviously, one is how to write a complete winning grant proposal in 5 minutes, but then also how do you come back and update with AI, or how do you create custom forms to look like the exact application form, how to write a grant report, because after you get the money, you need to report on the grant, right? How did you spend the money? What came out of it? So that itself, nonprofits have to do quarterly. So if they've
Mhm.
given, if the donation was for 1 year, the standard practice is that you have to report on the grant funding quarterly and then one annual report. So that is like a lot of time every quarter that goes towards writing grant reports. So we've AI powered that.
Mhm.
We also want to AI power the grant search. That's another area where a lot of builders have to spend time just looking for funding, and we want to make it super magical for them as well. So yeah, we just want to bring this ease to people who are doing great work, that they don't have to stop their great work to write grants or look for grants. It is like literally they can just pull out a template on their phone. It is very mobile friendly, the entire site, and they can write a grant. And I would love to automate submissions as well, but that's something out of our control because foundations have their own ways to accept applications. But I would love to do auto submissions where they can create a grant and just auto submit here, like some kind of
Mhm.
integrations. So that will make it end to end smooth for the change makers.
I have one question though. It's kind of intricate, but anyway, what kind of evaluation framework do you use to educate your LLM to write the grants? Did you evaluate the quality of writing somehow?
So I am, as I said, I've written many grants myself, and just reading, like I'm a non-technical person. I have two engineers who would be best at answering this question. But I've like written many grants, and I'm like I just recently won a grant from Filecoin Foundation not so long ago in 2023. So that's the recent grant that I wrote. And I fed in the same, because I can attach files, I fed in the same project here, and the AI did like 10x better job than I did. And it caught a couple of spelling mistakes too that I didn't realize was in the proposal. So, I mean, just by my
So
own
wait, am I
comparison.
writing like Deepa when I use GrantOrb? Like all my things will be in the voice of Deepa? That's pretty fun.
No, but see, grants have only one voice, right? It's you're communicating your project. You don't it's not like emails, like where you can take different tones. It's like a remote interview. You're getting funding and you need to be able to communicate your idea to the funder. So it has a very standard tone of writing, which is professional, and just a matter of fact, this is what we're going to be doing. So there is no there are no different tones in that. That you don't have to bring a certain style to your tone, as long as there's coherence across the proposal, like it comes across it's been written by one person and not five different people, which can happen when you are directly interacting with a raw LLM and asking
Mhm.
them to do it section by section. It might come across like five people have come together to write this proposal. But with our update with the AI feature, like when you even come back to, and somebody else comes back to do an update, there's a same coherence, like style and format and tone across the proposal. And if you make change to one section, it automatically gets reflected in the related section. So if you change the budget, it will get reflected in the executive summary, which has mention of the budget, right? How much you're seeking funding for?
Mhm.
What is the amount? So it's all really thought about like in details. And we've been working with the community. As I said, we launched through TechSoup in Jan, and they were doing like nonprofit tech trends for 2024. And I'm like, hey, I'd love to show you something. I've built something. And like, yeah, come on over for this webinar that we're doing with the nonprofit community. And I showed the tool to them. I didn't even tell them about a website. I said, this is what we built, and I demoed this, like generating an entire proposal. And 70 people came and signed in. I don't know how they figured what the website was. 70 people came and created the accounts, tested it out, and then we didn't have things like autosave at that point of time. So they're like, we're not closing the window in case anything gets lost. And actually, it was always there, like it was always autosaved, but we weren't communicating to them. So these were the things that we kept in mind, like when designing the user interface, like what are the concerns that people have when they're using a system? Like, oh, this stuff should be communicated to them that it's being auto saved, right? Like, and so we added like things like saved. Like, I know like my engineers go crazy with me, like when
Like
I
I
come
said,
back
I
and tell them
I
you got to tell them what's happening to their work. And so
oh
sometimes
yeah.
they're like, how much to tell? I'm like, no, you got to tell them,
Well,
so
I think your UX playing with it is, compared to others, much better. It's the flow's really nice. Vic, do you have anything you want to add before? Nope.
No, no.
All right, so let me rattle off a couple questions with your founder hat on, and we'll get you out of talking about the technology behind. Founder
yeah.
hat, what differentiates you from other Grant Gen AI products?
Sorry,
'Cause
I didn't
what
get your
differentiates
question.
GrantOrb from other Gen AI grant creation products? Because
Oh, there
there
aren't any. There
there are
aren't any
zero
gen.
out there. That's crazy. Crazy good, but crazy. I'm surprised.
Okay, so I haven't personally come across any. There are tons of like, I speak to nonprofits every day, and I speak to grant consultants. There are tons of grant consultants also using our product,
Mhm.
and what they use is Grammarly. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah, that's not the
Grammarly
same.
is not. Grammarly is good for grammar check, but all Grammarly and everything is built in, so you don't
Yeah,
even need to use Grammarly, right?
right.
Others are using ChatGPT, or they will feed in their proposal into ChatGPT. They will write it and say edit and proofread it, and it does whatever. Their
Right.
prompts
In
are
other
simple,
words, it's
right?
not
Edit and
it's not rule based. You guys have a lot of rules over this LLM
y-
to make it work appropriately.
yes, it is highly optimized and tuned on grants.
Super
This is
exciting. One last philosophical question.
yeah.
Are you in the Gen AI business or are you in the grant business?
We are bringing the generative AI technology to change makers to help them unlock millions in grants funding. Our
So this is
focus,
like a part of a future suite of products, or this is the business? See where I'm at? Like, because you work in a lot of different ways in this nonprofit space, so
yeah, we are
you
highly
have
focused
probably
on
have a lot of
grants.
pain points,
Yeah,
right?
no, there are many ways to raise funding for your mission. You can even go to VCs. There's something called impact investors.
Mhm.
And, everybody needs a proposal at the end of the day. Everybody wants to see it on paper. How are you going to be spending that money? Unless it's a small donor. A small donor means $10, $50, $100. Anybody who's giving you $1,000 in money or donation or whatever it is wants to know how you're going to be spending that. And so this is a creation tool for proposals, where the money happens to be grants, which basically is literally free in the sense that you do not have to return that back. There is no interest on it. You need to do reporting on it. You need to build relationship. You might get the grant the first time, but if you don't deliver on the and everything that you promised, you will not get it the next time, right? So you need to build that relationships. Is more trust based, but you need to be able to communicate your idea, and it removes all barriers because there are so many people who are not able to communicate their ideas, right? And for a lot of people, like, we might take it for granted that US English is the first language, but it's not for a lot of people, right? And they are all part of the United States now, but English is not their first language, and they need funding for their programs and mission. And so it removes English as a language is not a barrier anymore, because they can write in whatever language they want. Broken English is completely fine, and it just writes it out for uh, uh, for the individual to be able to communicate it effectively.
Deepa, give us some links. We'll also have these links in the description on be it on LinkedIn or YouTube, Spotify, or .com. How can people find you?
So they can just go to GrantOrb, that's GrantOrb.com, and access the website. It works beautifully on mobile. So we've been very conscious of the fact that it has to work great on mobile. So you can even write your grants sitting on a beach. So yeah, it's to bring this whole space into the future. You won't believe a lot of them are still stuck in the Stone Age. I'm telling you, I see so many outdated browsers and stuff. They send me this screenshot, and I'm like, yeah, we've optimized for all browsers, but which one is this?
It's mobile. All browsers lead to mobile. Vik, what should people do over on YouTube and wherever they're finding our happy little pod? This is episode 30, and how do we end? Yeah,
episode 30 in a can, and please visit this beautiful grant website, a grant application writing website. It's really cool. And subscribe to our channels.
Wait, you did not say that as well as you've said it for 29 other times.
I decided to change this.
Okay. See, I didn't get the memo. All right. This is episode 30 of WebVision's pod. You can find us at YouTube, WebVision we rebranded. Oh my gosh. What's our new name? We are VisibleMagic Official on YouTube. We are now the podcast is VisibleMagic. Oh, this has been a long day, and I apologize. I just totally did not stick the landing. It is the Olympics. I will stick the landing on episode 31. Thank you, Deepa. I really appreciate knowing you, and I appreciate your time. And we're gonna see each other a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Schlomo. You were the first person I ever said that I'm going to be starting this. Remember, it was in November 2023, like a year after ChatGPT was launched. I'm like, okay, I'm starting like an AI grant writer.
Yeah.
And so you were the very first person to know about my plans. So, and here we are. We have hundreds of organizations using us, individuals using us. So it's really great.
Awesome. VisibleMagic Pod episode 30 is out of here. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.